Absolutely. Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country, American lives that have been lost, families that are grieving that loss. And you know, the vice president is the head of the task force and knew on January 28th how serious this was. And then thanks to Bob Woodward, we learned that they knew about it. And then when that was exposed, the vice president said, when asked, well, why didn't y'all tell anybody? He said, because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's get
but Susan, this is important. I want to add, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I'm speaking. Look at the record. You yourself said repeatedly that you would ban fracking. You were the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the Green New Deal, Susan, thank you for pointing out, the Green New Deal is on their campaign website. And as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored with AOC when she submitted it in the Senate.
I will not sit here and be lectured by the vice president on what it means to enforce the laws of our country. I am the only one on this stage who has personally prosecuted everything from child sexual assault to homicide. I'm the only one on this stage who has prosecuted the big banks for taking advantage of America's homeowners. I'm the only one on this stage who prosecuted for-profit colleges for taking advantage of our veterans.
When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed? I mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864...
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
No, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Okay. In 1864, one of the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the president, I assume of you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln. Mm-hmm. Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election. And it was 27 days before the election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land. And so Joe and I are very clear. The American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision about who will serve on this most important body for a lifetime.
Thank you,
and
Senator
the
Harris.
People, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about packing.
You once again gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
Trying to answer you
now.
The
American people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election. Men and women, I got to tell you, people across this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris ticket.
Welcome to Election Recon. It is Wednesday night, October 7th, 2020, 9:30 p.m. Pacific Time here on the West Coast of the United States. 27 days until Election Day. I'm Josh Whitfield, and this is another weekday election update. And as you heard by the audio coming into the podcast, tonight was the one and only vice presidential debate here in election 2020. It was vibrant, it was lively, but it was civil. Heated, but civil. I covered this thing live all night for KFIV 1360 AM Power Talk Radio here in California. So if you really want to get my full analysis, you can go check it out on iHeartRadio. But my synopsis, my Reader's Digest of the debate is this. On substance, style, command and control, the ability to produce sound bites that are going to be used from now until the end of the election, and presence and presentation, Vice President Mike Pence was the clear winner of the vice presidential debate. Now, I already know I'm going to get messages and hate and DMs from those of you on the left accusing me of bias. But that's what I truly believe. I promise to call balls and strikes here down the middle, and zealotry on both sides aside. I truly believe Mike Pence won that debate, which caught me by surprise because I really thought coming into it that Senator Harris was going to win. I really did. She's a courtroom lawyer, attorney general, sitting senator. I really thought that she was going to win the debate, but she did not, in my opinion. I really thought she was going to put Pence on the defense all night long, but in my opinion, I truly believe for the majority of that debate, there were a couple instances she came on very strong and she scored some serious hits, no doubt about it. She did not turn in a terrible debate performance by any margin. But for most of that debate, Mike Pence, the Vice President of the United States, was able to put her on the defensive. There was no moment more key to this than when he was able to ask her directly after realizing the moderator, Miss Page from USA Today, the Washington bureau chief from USA Today, was not going to ask the question in the debate, and shame on her for that. However, I thought Miss Page moderated a fair debate straight down the middle, and I thought she did an excellent job, much better than Fox News' Chris Wallace. But shame on her for not asking this question, and good on Mike Pence for getting it in. And he asked her directly, as you heard in the audio, about court packing, and as you heard in the audio, Senator Harris ducked, weaved, and dodged, and he stayed on it, the question, in such a way that it is going to remain a topic and news story for the following week. It's not going anywhere in the political news cycle. That was a home run moment, and it's what pushed Mike Pence over the goal line for a touchdown in this debate, and I believe it was the winning touchdown in this debate. I don't know if not answering the court packing question is going to cost Biden and Harris the election because they are so far out ahead right now in national polling. Whether you believe polls or not, that's a whole nother debate. I don't know if it cuts into a lead right now that's that significant, but it's certainly going to become an increasing liability for them, and Pence made sure of that tonight. In my opinion, left zealots aside, the VP won. However, now I'm going to go piss off all you right zealots. Do I think it's going to matter much in this election? I do not. I do not think what I believe to be a win by the vice president is going to move the needle much. Most of the time, traditionally, historically, in the 2 centuries we've been a nation, the VP debate really doesn't matter much. It never really has. Maybe it will. 2020 is a crazy year. Maybe it will this year. I don't know. All the norms are out. We'll have to wait and see. Still waiting to see some snap polls over who America thought won, whether America agrees with me or not. I'm only one man with one opinion. Haven't seen any yet. Maybe by the end of the podcast, we'll be able to report something. I have checked in some local state news, some regional news, like in Pennsylvania and Ohio and Wisconsin, and all of those, their news Twitter accounts had Twitter polls that all showed Pence winning 2-1. However, I checked out some Twitter polls from California news agencies, and they have Harris winning 2-1. So we're just going to have to wait and see. And that is my synopsis, my thoughts on tonight's vice presidential debate. Far more substantive, far more useful to the American voter than the disaster, the hot mess that was the first presidential debate a week ago. So I want to say kudos to Mike Pence and kudos to Kamala Harris for delivering on what the American people deserved out of that, which was a lively, contested, well-fought, I thought, debate. And because I'm a political nerd and a political geek, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the exchanges, and I give kudos. It was a strong performance. It was like a great Monday Night Football game where I do believe there was a clear winner, but it was still a great game and entertaining and useful to watch. So kudos to both campaigns on that. Now, let's talk about the state of the race today for election 2020. First, for the presidency of the United States. First, job approval for the president. A poll from Politico Morning Consult. The presidential approval rating underwater by 9 points. 54 disapprove, 45 approve. From Rasmussen Reports, the president's approval rating underwater 10 points. 54 disapprove, 44 approve. From The Economist YouGov, 12 points underwater for the president, 55 disapprove, 43 approve. Moving now to national polls for the general election. From Fox News, Biden plus 10, 53, 43. From The Economist YouGov, Biden plus 9, 51, 42. From Rasmussen Reports, Biden plus 12, 52 to 40. Moving now to state polling. From Wisconsin, from Marquette, Biden plus 5, 46, 41. From Ohio, New York Times, Siena College, Biden plus 1, 45, 44. That race within the margin of error. From Pennsylvania, Emerson, Biden plus 5, 50 to 45. Also from Pennsylvania, from Quinnipiac, Biden plus 13, 54, 41. Now in Florida, also from Quinnipiac, Biden plus 11, 51, 40. From Iowa, also from Quinnipiac, Biden plus 5, 50 to 45. From Nevada, New York Times, Siena College, Biden plus 6, 48, 42. From West Virginia, from WMOV, Trump plus 18, 56, 38. And from the state of Arizona, from Reuters, Ipsos, Biden plus 2, 48, 46. That race within the margin of error. We found that poll very interesting because, as I said yesterday, our flip in our model moving Arizona from tilt Biden to tilt Trump really caught me by surprise, especially with Democrat Mark Kelly, the Senate candidate Democrat challenging Senator Republican Martha McSally, how strong his statewide race is doing, what we're seeing the House races in Arizona doing. It was really interesting that our model flipped it back to Trump, but this poll supports that trend that our model is seeing and why our model is making those calculations in the simulations. This poll from Reuters is supporting that. A lot of you on the left rose your eyebrows at that flip, and I understand why. I rose my eyebrows too, but this is supporting evidence of why we made that flip back. Could be that there are going to be a lot of split ticket voters in Arizona. Taking a look now at the 538 forecast model for the presidency. Trump down again in their model today, now down to 16 in 100 chance of winning, so a 16% chance to win the presidency based on their model. Biden up one now to 84 in 100 chance, or 84% to win. Their new forecast in electoral votes today, 343 for Biden-Harris, 195 in the 538 model for Trump-Pence. Their projected share of the popular vote, 53.3% for Biden, 45.4% for Trump. And now taking a look at the Real Clear Politics battleground comparison from aggregate polling from battleground states from 2016 to 2020. Trump improving by 0.1% today. He was at 0.1% better than 2016 compared to 2020 yesterday. He's now at 0.2% better today based on the aggregate polling in comparison from 2016 to 2020. And now taking a look at the election recon predictive model, our model's forecast and predictions. We've had 3 shifts in our states today for president. The first one, a big one. We've told everyone time and time again, yes, it looks like our model is more favorable to the president. It looks like it's shifting closer to the president, but in reality, we have so many tilt states in our model. One flip, and it looks like Biden blows this thing wide open again. That's what happened today. The week of abysmal, devastating polling for Trump has finally come into play, and it flipped a big state. It's Florida. The state of Florida has flipped from tilt Trump to tilt Biden in our model. That's a plus 29 electoral vote pickup for the Biden campaign. Now moving to Montana, which moved from likely Trump to lean Trump. And now for Virginia, which moved from lean Biden to likely Biden. All three shifts in our model today in favor of the Biden-Harris campaign. That brings our election recon predictive scoreboard to Biden 308 electoral votes, Trump 230. An update in our daily forecast for our model here at Election Recon has the odds to win improved for Joe Biden. He is winning 64 in 100 times in our model, or 64% chance to win the election. Donald Trump, 36 in 100 times in our model, or 36% chance to win. Our current projected forecast of the popular vote, 51.6% for Joe Biden, 46.1% for Trump. And now moving to the United States Senate, where the North Carolina Senate drama continues to spiral out of control for Democrat Cal Cunningham, where Monday it was a sexting scandal. Yesterday it turned to a full-blown affair and sex scandal. And today it came out that there were text messages where Cal Cunningham, who is a uniform-wearing member of the United States Army Reserve, was actually making fun, making light of the late husband of the woman he was sleeping with, cheating on his wife, her late husband's military suicide. You can't make this stuff up. We are literally watching the campaign implosion of a decade. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I have very, very strong feelings about members of the United States military, people who wear the same uniform I have worn, making light of the travesty that is veteran suicide in this country. We'll continue to keep our eyes on that North Carolina Senate race. But make no mistake about it, that race looked for sure like it was going to the Democrats, a flip from Republican control to Democrat control, an important piece of the map for Democrats to take control of the United States Senate. That race is now definitely a pure toss-up up in the air, and we're going to have to see where the cookie crumbles on that one. Going to Senate polling, a poll out of North Carolina from CNBC Change Research, a Democrat-affiliated organization. Cunningham, the Democrat challenger, versus Tillis, the Republican incumbent. Cunningham +4, 50-46. Out of the state of Michigan, also from CNBC Change Research, a Democrat-affiliated organization. Peters, the Democrat incumbent, versus James, the Republican challenger. Peters +8, 51-43. Out of Arizona, also from CNBC Change Research. McSally, the Republican incumbent, versus Kelly, the Democrat challenger. Kelly +8, 51-43. Out of Iowa, from Quinnipiac, Greenfield, the Democratic challenger, versus Ernst, the Republican incumbent. Greenfield +5, 50-45. And out of New Mexico, from PPP, a Democrat-affiliated organization, Lujan, the Democrat incumbent, versus Ricchetti, the Republican challenger. Lujan +10, 51-41. No shifts today in the election recon predictive model. Therefore, the scoreboard remains 50 projected seats for the Democrats, 50 projected seats for the Republicans. Again, a reminder, in the event of a 50-50 tie, whoever holds the vice presidency of the United States breaks a tie vote in the Senate. Moving now to the United States House of Representatives. One poll today, this out of the Arizona 6 congressional districts from Ohio, predictive insights between the Republican incumbent Schweikert versus the Democrat challenger Tipperini. Schweikert +3, 49-46, that race within the margin of error. And one shift in the election recon predictive model, that is the Arizona 6, based on polling, that has moved in the Democrats' favor from lean Republican to tilt Republican. This leaves the election recon predictive scoreboard to 238 projected seats in the House for Democrats, 197 projected seats for Republicans. Moving now to governor's races across the United States. One poll today out of West Virginia from WMOV. Between Justice, the Republican incumbent, and Salgano, the Democratic challenger, Justice plus 11, 48-37. For the election recon predictive model today, no shifts in states. Therefore, the projected scoreboard for governor's mansions across the United States stands at 27 projected governor's mansions for Republicans, 23 for the Democrats. Moving now to the state legislative races across the country. First, upper chambers or Nebraska's unicameral chamber. No polling, no model shifts today, thus leaving the scoreboard at 29 projected chambers in control of Republicans, 21 for the Democrats. And for lower chambers, again, no polling, no shifts in our model today. Therefore, the scoreboard stands 27 projected lower chambers in control of Republicans and 22 for the Democrats. And because this is the oasis of reality where we've promised to bring you the facts straight down the middle, no questions asked, despite at the beginning of the podcast where I declared in my personal one-man opinion that I thought Vice President Mike Pence won this debate. We promised that if a snap poll showed up before the end of this podcast that we'd bring it to you. And we do have one out of CNN that clearly, resoundingly declares Kamala Harris the victor of tonight's vice presidential debate by a margin of 59-38. A surprise to me. That's a pretty significant margin for Senator Harris. Surprise to me, maybe not a surprise to you. What say you? You're entitled to your thoughts and opinion. Thank goodness that we live in a country for that. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Tell me what you think. Contact us. You can email us at electrecon, elect singular, recon@gmail.com. Share your thoughts with us. We certainly love hearing from you, and we wanted to bring you that information as soon as we got it. We'll see what the other major media outlet snap polls have to say. They're generally all over the place, but the first one from CNN again, Kamala Harris the winner, 59-38. We want to thank you for your continued support of Election Recon. This week continues to be a tremendous increase in viewership and support. So on behalf of all of us here at Election Recon, we thank you so much. If you like our content, please like, subscribe, share, and follow. You can find us on social media at Election Recon, That's going to be on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And, of course, find these shorter weekday election updates on our podcast and our longer 1-hour full-length episodes on our podcast on Saturdays. You can find all of our podcast episodes on iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. Thank you again for joining us tonight. I'm Josh Whitfield. We will see you tomorrow for another weekday update. Good night.